Good morning, all. My name is Haley Comet, and welcome to just another Magic Monday. Your cosmic overview of the week ahead, so you can synchronize what you've got going on with the cosmos to live your most magical, aligned life. These are posted every single Monday morning to my YouTube channel, so it's there when you're washing your face, drinking water, making breakfast, brushing your teeth, getting ready for the day, so you could physically prepare for the week as well as energetically and emotionally prepare for what the planetary energies will bring, and furthermore, how to lean into them to create more magic and alignment within your world. I am located in San Diego, so when I mention times, it will be PDT. Please adjust to your time zone if it is not. And let's break down the astrology of June 7th to June 13th, 2021. I would be so honored if you could subscribe, if you're getting value in this video, like, comment. Any little nudge is really appreciated. And without further ado, let's dive into the vibe check of the week. Now, if you're new here, this is my informal take, just when I look at the cosmos, what the energy is when I overview all of the aspects. So my informal take, when I was looking at the aspects, is that this week feels like when you've been talking to someone and it was going great and then they ghost you and you don't know why. And you're still in that delusional phase where you're telling yourself, oh, okay, maybe she's still at work, or maybe he's really busy, or maybe they lost their phone, or maybe this is going on, and you're still hopeful, but there's almost this feeling where it's okay, it's time to get real. I don't think this person likes me very much. It's time to get honest. And we can keep ourselves in that delusion of oh, this is going on, and this is going on, this is going on. But this week feels like the time where it's okay, let's get real. Let's be honest with ourselves and let's really assess the situation. Because maybe, unless really, they were swimming in the ocean and a shark came and snatched the phone out of their hand. Maybe that happened, but why would they be swimming in the ocean? And furthermore, we want to be texting with someone who is foolish enough to bring their phone into the ocean. Just saying. It's sort of a week where we're being asked to confront anything that we've sort of kept ourselves deluded in and get really radically honest with ourselves. Self-care is not always bubble baths and chocolate, although it can be that. Sometimes it's doing the hard work. Sometimes it's really looking at ourselves. Sometimes it's doing shadow work. Sometimes it's really looking at ourselves and looking at our attributes and our journey thus far and assessing how pleased and not pleased we are with the present situation. This week really calls for that radical honesty. And is it a little painful to be ouch, I was really vibing with this person. Why are they not texting me back? Yes. But are you going to be so much more empowered moving forward when you take that moment to be honest and to create more momentum within your world rather than keeping yourself suspended in a dream? Yes. So let's break it down day by day. We'll start with Monday. So Monday and Tuesday morning are the only times in the week that we have inner planets and Earth, which is kind of lending itself to this sort of out of body, all over the placeness. So definitely soak up the vibes. Monday and Tuesday, as the moon is exalted in the sign Taurus, which really fires on our senses, which again, this week is coming back down to Earth, out of our illusions and coming down and looking these revelations straight in the eye. Monday and Tuesday sort of helps with this groundedness, just calling a spade, calling a duck, saying what it is. On Monday, we do have a little bit of turbulence within the cosmos as that Taurus moon is kicking up a conjunction to Uranus, which of course is expected unexpected. So Monday sort of feels like a day at work where you're just not able to get on top of tasks, or there's a wrench thrown in your plans, or something unexpected happens that sets you back. It can be rather frustrating as there's a square to Saturn. And the mood kind of lightens as we move into the evening time, and the Taurus moon will sextile Neptune in Pisces at 9:47 p.m., making it a really lovely self-care night. And yes, Taurus energy is a fan of the bubble baths and the champagne and chocolate, and that is one way to care for yourself. If you need that groundedness, if you need that exercise, if you need to come back to your body, definitely honor that. But self-care can also look like doing something else that's really beneficial for your soul. Journaling, meditating, not filling your mind with stimuli every single second, taking some time to actually find some silence, nourishing yourself with good foods. Do something that is authentically good for yourself on Monday, because it'll sort of help moving into the eclipse energy. And again, the beginning of the week is the only really grounded earth energy we have in the inner parts of the cosmos. So nurture your body, come down to earth, nourish your body with what it authentically needs, nourish your soul with what it authentically needs. Tuesday the 8th would be fantastic for a workout, as the Taurus moon will trine Pluto in Capricorn, and then it'll sextile Mars in Cancer, at which point it is void at 8:07 a.m. So with the Taurus moon sextile Mars in Cancer, this is the final week of Mars in Cancer, I'm happy to report, but I would definitely say if things have been frustrated, Tuesday morning would be such a beautiful time to get that out of your system. Again, like, self-care isn't always sleeping in, eating chocolate, doing blah, blah, blah. Sometimes that stuff hits. Sometimes that stuff is amazing. But sometimes self-care is also getting yourself up at 6 a.m. before you go to work, because you know that when you get that hot yoga class, that kickboxing class, you feel so much better for the rest of the day. And yes, it's challenging when you're opening your eyes, but can you be honest with yourself and be like, this is gonna make me feel so much better, make my body feel so good. So again, self-care is sometimes doing the difficult things. Sometimes it is about having to have discipline in those moments. And Tuesday would be a really, really beneficial time to work out, because it does feel, with the sextile to Mars in Cancer, that it is sort of emotionally clearing, getting something out of our system, which will, again, as we're moving into the eclipse, help us to be a little bit more level-headed and a little bit more logical about the reality of the situation. Mars does depart Cancer this week, I'm happy to report, so you'll notice that you're a little less like energetically up and down, fluctuating quite a bit, so that is good news. The moon will be void from 8:07 to 11:47 a.m. And if you're new here, when the moon is void, important tasks you must avoid. So that's our window on Tuesday. Then on Tuesday morning, we don't want to do anything too terribly important. This isn't when I would want to pitch your new idea. This isn't when I would want to send the comedy sketch. This is the time that you should, work out and handle more mundane tasks. The moon enters Gemini 11:47. This is the sign of the eclipse on June 10th. And Tuesday night, there really is this first confrontation between illusion, telling yourself, oh, he's just swimming, oh, she's just on a plane, and reality, as that Gemini moon will square Jupiter in Pisces. And with Jupiter in Pisces, something to be really mindful of is, wanting to live in a dream, or almost like this toxic positivity of like, everything's gonna be okay, everything's gonna be okay. Don't get me wrong, there's such a time and place for being positive. I'm a big believer in it, but something to be mindful of this week is like ways that we keep ourselves suspended from acknowledging the truth of the situation by being like, it'll all be okay, or like not even acknowledging your own emotions, like just being like, it's okay, just keep going, rather than being like, okay, I'm sad, let me like grieve about that. So just something to be mindful of on Tuesday is that there's that first battle where it's like, okay, am I gonna keep myself suspended in this dream that everything's okay, or am I gonna like look at this really squarely in the face? Wednesday the 9th, the moon will be in Gemini all day. It does make a trine to Saturn in Aquarius, which helps truly with all tasks, particularly if they require a higher level of focus, of discipline, of long-term planning. We're just a little bit more somber and sober and focused with this. The moon is also balsamic, and when the moon is balsamic, that means before a new moon, and the moon is shedding its last light. And if you follow moon cycles, you can sort of notice before a new moon, you can feel a little bit more exhausted, a little bit more introspective. And so if you're noticing on Wednesday that you're just a little bit more apathetic, you're really not in the mood to socialize, I really want you to honor that, because there can be things that are sort of bubbling up with this eclipse. As I mentioned, this is a very thoughtful week, and a lot of honest insights are bubbling up. But if we distract it with stimuli and noise and all of these things, it's harder to really get real with yourself and look inward. That's the beautiful thing about Mercury retrograde, is whenever we have a retrograde planet, it creates this internal lens of looking at our world, looking at ourselves, rather than being so focused on, okay, what's next, and like always moving forward. Mercury retrograde, yes, some themes from the past can come up, and yes, definitely some technical difficulties, but there's also this beauty around, what is it that I haven't acknowledged? What have I been so busy trying to build within my life that I haven't sort of restored or reflected on or reset within my world? So on Wednesday, if you're feeling a little bit more introspective, you're feeling like you want to be alone, that is totally okay. Our intuition is a very, very accurate voice, but it's a very, very quiet one. So sometimes it needs that alone time for like it to bubble up and for you to be like, okay, this is something I'm upset about, or this is something that I know that needs to change, so on and so forth. But I would say Wednesday is a very productive day. You might notice you're a little bit more tired, but with the trine to Saturn, it's a very stabilizing force. The Gemini solar eclipse is on June 10th, and I have a whole video if you're curious what the eclipse stories have for you in general. This eclipse does square Neptune, which will be retrograde by the end of the month, June 25th to be exact. So when Neptune's retrograde, it's not a huge deal when outer planets are retrograde. They're commonly retrograde throughout the year. But I do think it's significant that it's such an integral part of this eclipse, officially is it's getting ready to go retrograde, and the ruler of the eclipse, Gemini's ruler Mercury, is also retrograde. Remember what I said about retrogrades? Retrogrades is this internal lens, right? It's like, stop placing all of your value on the external world, how things look, moving forward, doing all the things. Almost like there's a screeching halt, and it's like, let's look inward. Let's redo the aspects that we just sort of like glossed over. Let's really reflect on the areas of our life that we're happy with and the areas of life that we might not be as happy with. There's really this lens inward. With the square to Neptune, remember what I said earlier, between keeping yourself suspended in that dream, just because, you know, we can be lulled by things that just feel good, that just sound good. It's like almost when you're around people and you're like, why haven't they texted me back? Like, what did I do? And they're like, oh no, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like that movie, He's Just Not That Into You, how everyone has a story of like that one couple or that one thing, rather than anyone just being like, hey, she doesn't seem like that she's that into you. People who are into you text you, or he's not that into you, they're not that into you. It's sort of this energy where we can keep ourselves suspended, dream, really be honest with ourselves. And it's not easy to necessarily be honest with yourself. And of course, not everything is super clear at the moment. With the square to Neptune, always sort of like hazes things. So things are a little bit elusive. But if a message comes through, I want you to really acknowledge it. I want you to carve space to be by yourself, to really reflect inwards. And this eclipse does come with a message. It is gathered with its ruler Mercury, so it does feel like a message is going to come out. The Mercury is retrograde, so it feels like a message from within. So I definitely recommend getting some time to be on your own so that message can really come through, and that you like have the space to really hear it within your world. And to use logical sense, right? South Node is in Sagittarius, what we're sort of moving away from, which yes, is self-righteousness. And it's also, you know, Sagittarius is a very uplifting energy, and there's nothing wrong with being uplifting. I'm not coming for y'all, but I'm just saying there's almost this energy where we could have kept ourselves suspended in this toxic, like everything's okay, or like I don't need to worry about that, or life is good, without really acknowledging the truth of the matter, or where there might need to be more healing, or where there needs to be more revelations. And Thursday, the moon is void pretty much all day. It's void from 10:38 onward until the next day, Friday. So it definitely feels like a great day, if possible, to take the day off work, to spend some time alone. It doesn't feel like we'll be too terribly productive. Like I said about eclipses, when they are solar eclipses, it typically is more collective. So news could be kind of crazy. There might be like a lot going on. And rather than distracting yourself, if there's like upsetting revelations or insights or shifts that you know you need to make, I want you to empower you to like sort of sit with them for a second, journal on them, acknowledge them. I'm the kind of person, whenever I have a moment, I am playing a YouTube video or a podcast, or like just have all this stimuli. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course. North Node in Gemini does empower us as learning from viewpoints other than our own. But on Thursday, it definitely feels like a space where it's like, see what happens if you just sit with yourself. And yeah, can there be painful revelations of a blip? Absolutely. Can there be some really, really significant revelations come up? The answer is also yes. So just something to consider. The moon moves into Cancer the next day, Friday the 11th at 12:23 a.m., where it stays all day. The Cancer moon will trine Jupiter in Pisces, which really grants this rush of good feelings and feeling like we're growing, like we're able to move on with our world. And that's the really nice thing about confronting parts of our life that has the ugly truth, is that when we look at it, we realize it's not going to hurt us, we're able to sort of move forward. It's only when we're just throwing things in a closet and just like shoving and just acting like it doesn't exist. How are we going to be able to move forward? How are we going to be able to move out of that house if we have this closet that we're scared of opening because there's so much stuff? It's almost this energy around getting real, being honest, and confronting what's in the closet, why that person really isn't texting you back, so on and so forth. And Friday's like sort of nurturing yourself through it. So if a lot came up, definitely take some time on Friday to take care of yourself, ground down, Be supportive. I'm not saying, all week you need to be like super mean to yourself, like it's the facts. Definitely treat yourself with love, lovingly assess the situation, especially on Friday. Mars enters Leo on Friday, which is really the boost of confidence and motivation that we need. So with Mars and Leo, expect to be more willing to assert yourself, advocate for yourself, stand up for yourself in what it is that you need. Be prideful of your abilities, because this also feels very tied in with this message around, being radically honest and confronting our shadow self. Because what I've noticed whenever I'm doing shadow work or looking at certain areas of my life where I'm like, okay, you got to do that, and that's not great, and so on and so forth, that it can fuel insecurities. So with Mars and Leo, it's also like, okay, not only get radically honest with your healing journey and maybe shifts you need to make with your life and ways that you're satisfied and ways that you are not, but also get real with your talents, with your abilities. Stop selling yourself short. Stop humbling yourself. You can keep yourself suspended in these stories that you play yourself, like I'm not good enough because of A, B, and C, I'll never achieve my dreams. And so I'm not saying just get real about the ugly stuff. I'm saying get real about the beautiful stuff too. When you are willing to fiercely look your shadow self, or the parts of yourself that you don't like, or the parts of your life that you don't like, squarely in the face, you're also able to get really, really honest about the parts of yourself that are amazing, the parts of your life that are amazing, and the ways in your life that you've been selling yourself short and keeping yourself small. They feel very interrelated. So with Mars and Leo, this is time to advocate, shine your light, know who you are, let go of the illusion, and step into the power of who you really are. And that's when you acknowledge the ugly and the beautiful all together. That is where your power lies. That is where you lie. So yes, there's some discomfort this eclipse season around really being honest with ourselves, but there's also a lot of beauty in stepping out into that power fully. So Friday or Saturdays are honestly my pick for date night. I'm a little bit leaning more towards Friday just because Friday is Venus Day. Every day of the week is ruled by a different planet. I have a whole video on that if you want to dive deeper, but they're both really juicy. So Friday, because the Cancer moon will meet up with Venus in Cancer, which makes us in the mood to enjoy sensual pursuits, the company of another. And on Saturday night, Venus in Cancer will sextile Uranus and Taurus, which makes us want to step out with someone new, maybe swipe yes on someone we would typically swipe no on, or just sort of like take a chance on love and realize, okay, this is actually pretty fun. Saturday, just be mindful of like pesky insecurities to kind of rev up. The Venus in Cancer squaring Chiron in Aries, there could be this feeling of like, I'm not good enough or I'm not valuable enough. When those feelings arise, again, being real and like getting honest and being like, I am enough. Again, rather than distracting yourself with stimuli all over, pull the lens of focus inward. How is it that I can, lovingly care for myself? What is it that I authentically and honestly need right now? What is it that's triggering this feeling in me? And how can I, support myself this weekend by doing things that make me feel valuable, that make me feel powerful, that make me feel like the person that I am. So on Sunday the 13th, the moon will be void in Cancer at 4:16 a.m. onward. The closing aspect is the Cancer moon opposite Pluto in Capricorn. Then the moon will enter Leo, ending the void at 11:22. So with the closing aspect being the Cancer moon opposite Pluto in Capricorn, notice when those feelings of not feeling enough, of feeling self-conscious emerge. And rather than running away or distracting yourself by putting on another YouTube video or looking for answers elsewhere, take that opportunity to be like, okay, let me breathe. What is bringing this feeling to my attention? How can I be honest with myself about what is that I need? How can I advocate for what I need to my loved ones around me? Hey, I need more alone time. Hey, I need time to, take a bath. Hey, I need time to decompress after work before you come and talk to me about all your problems. It's almost like that energy of like acknowledging the root problem rather than distracting yourself, being like, oh, my partner just needs to vent, so I'm just going to take it and then decompress later. Like really acknowledging this is a root problem. I need space to take care of myself before I feel able to take care of this person, and moving forward rather than brushing under the rug, keeping yourself deluded. The sun in Gemini also squares Neptune in Pisces, which again is wanting to keep things in a dream, not wanting to confront the problem, which is why I'm really advocating for this feeling of honesty, of being real, of obviously being loving. I'm not saying being mean to yourself, like, hey, you're not good enough in these areas. It's like lovingly being like, hey, I think you would find more physical, mental, and emotional well-being if you integrated this into your nightly routine. Or, hey, I know you love a glass of wine after work, but I've noticed that your mood drops right after, rather than keeping ourselves in this lull of like, it's just wine, it doesn't hurt, I don't know why I'm feeling this way, I don't know why this is happening. It's like getting real and getting honest and really looking the truth squarely in the face. There will feel lulls to keep yourself in dreamland with all of the squares to Neptune this week, sort of pulling us away. But when that happens, I want you to really, really work on being honest in a loving way. No need to make crazy changes in your life. We're still in eclipse season. Mercury is still retrograde. We're still in this reflective, introspective ways. I just want you to observe those truths as they bubble up and get honest with yourself about what it is that you could need to support your growth moving forward. So friends, thank you so much for watching to the end. I do have a upcoming class, transits underway, but I do have Synastry if you want to jump in. That is starting this month if you want to learn deeper about the astrology behind relationships, behind how we connect. Word of the week today is lemur, and bonus points if you can use lemur in a sentence. You guys blew me away last week with your amazing usage of nail polish in a sentence. I mean, some of you even pulled in transits. I was like, oh my gosh, so I had to make it a little bit more challenging. Let's see how you can integrate lemur into the week. My Instagram handle is @Comet Astrology, same on TikTok. I would love to invite you to join me over there. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay magical.